People with critical skills, scroll up. People with good jobs and better education, scroll up. Okay, this conversation is for moms, people who are moving here in Ireland as moms, people who are moving here as housewives. Yeah, that category. Okay, so let's talk care jobs. I have received a couple of comments on my video, and some of you reached out on Instagram asking, hey, how can I get care jobs, and how can are they available, how is the market? And this is one thing I can tell you: care jobs are available as long as you're in Ireland. Number two, is not a job that can pay you bills, so yeah, think beyond that. Okay, think, get in for some time, do a course, progress. Okay, I feel like when you live abroad, you need to better yourself, you need to level yourself up, you need to do some courses. If you're not go back to school, even way better. If you feel like you cannot go back to school, do courses. In fact, I think we have free courses online. If you just check very well, I think we do, especially with the library. I'll make a different video because there's a time I came across a bunch of courses. They are free. There is something adult called adult education. Yeah, they offer what? They offer free courses, makeup, nail technique, whatever. You can do a small course and better yourself. Apart from that, let's come back to care, okay? I feel like with care, if you're somebody who's learned, you won't really use that education that much. I feel like because you're working with community, right? You're working with different people in their houses. The routine is the same. You rarely meet colleagues unless you're doing double shift. Like for me, I rarely meet people. I do single shift. I rarely come across those double shift where you meet people, where you learn things, where you talk, where you learn. I don't get that. So double shift, I feel like they are better in terms of socializing, improving your skills, because you come across medical things that when you're alone, a single shift, you really don't get to learn that. So double shift kind of gives you that a little bit of medical, yeah, you get to learn one or two things. Back to the thing, as long as you're in Ireland, these jobs are available. Again, they can't pay bills, okay? They're good for students, they're good for moms who want to work at the same time, take care of their family and have some change in their pockets. But if you are using this job to pay your bill, trust me, they can't even pay for you a single a one bedroom, okay? Even a studio, you can't afford to pay studio rent with this money. And if you have to, you'll have to work like 7 days a week, more than 40 hours. That's and it's draining, okay? So this job is good for moms who want to do a little bit of here and then have some change, take care of family. It's good for student, because if they're doing part-time, or if they're doing full-time, they can work during the weekend, okay? Because they pay different from weekdays and weekends. So weekends they pay a little bit better. So yeah, that's what I know. But if you move here as a housewife, if you move here as a student, okay, let's just leave student, because students are here to study and then work their free time. But if you're just moving here as you're coming through a family member, if you didn't do you didn't get time to go to school, maybe you just finished your high school and then I never went to college, or you did college and then never used that education, and it just, okay, I have come across people who are like, I've done this for 5 years, I've done this for 10 years, I've done this. In fact, I met a lady who's like, I've done this for 15 years. And every time I hear 10, 7, 15, I'm just like, how? But I do understand it's very, very flexible. You can choose to work in the morning and use the rest of the day to do something else. You can use to do something else in the morning and choose to do something else in the evening. So when it comes to flexibility, it is chef's kiss, okay? Because trust me, people who got good jobs, they don't do part-time, okay? There's no part-time. You're in the office, you're busy, so when it comes to flexibility, yes, I love care, but it's not a place where I see myself growing. I feel like as long as you're there and you don't educate yourself beyond that, you're just stuck at that level, and you're gonna come across people who are in care but they're progressing. They're going to school, they are improving themselves, they are taking up new courses, they are learning to better themselves. If you're not doing this, yeah, you need to double check yourself unless you're very comfortable with where you are. But for me, I feel like with care it is the same routine, okay? And I get bored very fast. Sometimes I get really happy when I'm sent to clients that are not mine, because it's sort of a fresh air, but it's a very humbling job. Even though people don't respect you, people look at you and they just see how you clean other people's business, and they forget that when you go to hospital, nurses do the same thing, but nurses got more title to them. I don't know, people respect nurses but they don't respect care. And if you really look at it, the same thing you're thinking in your mind is the same thing the nurse does at the hospital. Okay, the difference is she's at the hospital and she's just behind the doctor. So yeah, I feel like when you're a care, when you tell people care, immediately their respect goes down or they begin to look down on you and stuff like that. But it's a very humbling job. If you have sense, it will teach you one or two things, men and women. Anyway, I hope I've answered your question, guys. Let me just run it one more time. Care jobs are available, okay, but they can't pay bills. They are good for moms and for people who just want to do part-time jobs and have some change in their pocket. They are good for students, and that's it. But it's not a job you can just do for so long. I don't know how people do it for so long. I don't know. I'll check in few months to let you know. But if you ask me, yeah, your back, if you don't take care of yourself, by the time you're a certain age your back is gone. You need to rest. It can be draining because you meet good clients and not so good clients. You meet family members who are really good and not so good. So yeah, it needs you to be emotionally stable, mind wise too, so you can deal with people as they come. You can't be upset, you have to be understanding. You need to know how to handle a rough situation and not so rough situation. You need to be kind and loving at the same time, regardless of the situation. Remember, if things doesn't work out, always ring your office. So I hope that helps. Till next time. Bye.